The New York Rangers are definitely going to be looking to compete throughout this upcoming season. It seems like they really want to get back on track to being at least a playoff caliber team, I'm sure. But the ultimate goal, of course, is to compete for that Stanley Cup. And if they're going to have even some slight of a chance of doing so, they're going to need these 5 players to really have some great seasons. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at the New York Rangers' top 5 most important players for this season. But let's get right into things here, and we'll start off with number 5, who I have as Vladislav Gavrikov. This is one of the newer pickups by the Rangers. Of course, he was signed at the start of free agency to a 7-year deal with a $7 million cap hit, and this was a player that was needed to be picked up. The Rangers had to go out there and add in another true top 4 caliber defenseman. Now, they did go out there and ship off a guy like K'Andre Miller, of course, in that sign and trade deal, but at least they did pick up a pretty solid player in Scott Morrow in that deal there, a nice young kind of right-handed defense prospect. He's like 22 years old, has some NHL experience, AHL experience, so solid, good prospect that's NHL ready. That was nice. But, of course, picking up a guy like Vladislav Gavrikov, and that K'Andre Miller trade that kind of allowed this move to be able to happen, was really good because this team went out there and I think made a clear big upgrade over K'Andre. This past season, one of the biggest reasons why this Rangers team was a complete kind of failure and ultimately did not make playoffs was the fact that this team defensively was just not good enough. They were quite terrible, so adding in a real good shutdown defensive defenseman like Gavrikov there, who's got some good size there, fairly physical, can block a lot of shots, kill some penalties, but just be a good, reliable shutdown defensive defenseman to probably go alongside Adam Fox, our current top defenseman. I think that could just be a great top shutdown pair and could really just help this team so much defensively, which, like I said, it was one of the biggest problems for this team and was one of the biggest reasons why this squad ultimately did not make playoffs. So adding in a guy like Gavrikov was a great move. It was a needed move, and he is definitely going to be one of the most important players for the Rangers throughout this upcoming season. And next up here, we've got JT Miller at the number 4 spot. And, this is someone that I think will hopefully end up becoming, the captain of the New York Rangers. We'll see when and if they do end up officially naming a captain, but I'm kind of hoping it will be JT Miller. And I think he just was a perfect pickup before last season's NHL trade deadline there. Of course, they shipped off Victor Mancini at the time, a kind of high-end defense prospect, a first-round pick in Filipino, and got back another defense prospect there in Jackson Dorrington, so that wasn't kind of bad at all. And they also got back, of course, the main piece being JT Miller, also Erik Brannstrom, but that doesn't really matter in this deal too much. But JT Miller coming over, I thought was pretty incredible because one of the biggest things this team has been lacking over past seasons in the regular season and playoffs has been, of course, that physicality and toughness factor. This team hasn't had a lot of that, and that's been one of the reasons, why this team went out there in the conference final in Game 6 to the Florida, who was just a way more tougher and physical and even skilled team, right? So this Rangers team just was not quite built in the best way to go out there and really try and win that cup. But now after adding in a guy like JT Miller, I think they're built in a much better way because you have a guy who's going to be that, great top 6 caliber centerman who can be, a good offensive guy, power play guy, who can kill some penalties, be a good defensive guy, be a good faceoff taker, but he's also going to get under the other team's skin there. He's going to be a physical player, a tough player, he can block some shots, he can battle after the whistles, he can fight guys if he has to. So I think adding in a guy like that with that kind of tenacity and energy and kind of play style, I think is so important, and he'll definitely have a massive role for this team. And if they want to go out there and make playoffs and possibly go on a run at some point throughout this upcoming season, JT Miller is going to have to be a very important player. And next up in the number 3 spot here, we have Adam Fox. And I think kind of the same things with, Vladislav Gavrikov. We saw this team last season just be quite terrible defensively for the most part. And that was definitely one of the biggest reasons why they ultimately did not make playoffs. And I think adding in a guy like Vladislav Gavrikov should really help out this entire team in general defensively. But of course, also Adam Fox, assuming they are partnered together, that could be one of the better partnerships in the entire NHL, honestly. So Foxy having his best partner of all time definitely means he could have a pretty big impact on this team. And, obviously Ryan Lindgren has been a solid player in the past for this team, but he's never really been that true kind of top pairing caliber guy. Whereas someone like a Gavrikov, I think, is a true top pairing caliber defenseman. Not saying he's a true number one kind of guy, but going alongside Foxy, he can definitely be more than a good enough complementary kind of guy, right? So I think this should be a big help for Foxy there and should make him hopefully an even better player than what we've seen in the past, and hopefully he can get back more towards that kind of Norris Trophy winning season. But overall, he definitely is going to be one of the most important players for the New York Rangers and is definitely going to have a big season if this team wants to be anything close to a good playoff caliber team. And quickly, before we carry on, though, I did want to, of course, say that if you are enjoying this video, definitely don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for daily Rangers content. And also, definitely don't forget to comment down below your thoughts as well. But let's get back into things here. And at number 2, of course, I have Artemi Panarin, who I think is definitely going to be, of course, a very important player over the last 6 regular seasons consecutively. Since he has joined this team as a free agent, leaving the Columbus Blue Jackets, he has every single season been the top point producer for the New York Rangers. So obviously he is going to be a very important player. This is a Rangers team that has definitely had lots of troubles kind of scoring at 5-on-5, for example, in the past. And even this past season, they had some trouble scoring on the power play. But overall, consistently, this is still a player who has always put up some great numbers offensively, even if they're not at the kind of peak for his standards. He's still put up some really great numbers season in and season out for this Rangers team. So he's absolutely one of the most important players for this team. And you could definitely argue maybe is the most important guy for the Rangers for this upcoming season, especially in the regular season. And at number 1 here, of course, I have Igor Shesterkin. This is one of the better goalies still in the entire NHL. I know some fans have their doubts about him, but even in a down year for his standards and a down year for the Rangers team in general, where they were playing some terrible, terrible defense, he still ended up having some pretty good advanced goalie statistics there. So I think that was a pretty big positive. And in past seasons there, he has always been a pretty good, advanced statistic kind of numbers goalie. So it's not like he's really ever been a kind of bad, below average NHL goalie, even in the regular season when his numbers aren't, maybe looking the best there. So he's always been a good goalie for this team and has been a very important part of this team. In the playoffs especially, of course, he has absolutely carried this team along. And when I say carry, I really do mean that. So obviously, this is a goalie who has the kind of option or ability to game in and game out. He can really just take it over completely. So that's why I do have him at the number 1 spot here. I think he can really just take over any game he wants to and has the ability to do so. Obviously, we'll wait and see kind of what Igor we're getting this season. Is it more towards that kind of Vezina caliber guy? Is it what we saw kind of last season there? So I don't exactly know. I'm not saying he played phenomenal last season there, but I think in general, when you're taking a look at his numbers, basically, they weren't bad, but obviously they were not quite at that kind of Vezina caliber level, at that kind of $11.5 million cap hit level, but he has always proven to be an elite playoff performer, which has definitely been a really important thing for this team because they probably would not have gone, of course, on 2 really deep, conference finals playoff runs without Igor. I mean, he was an absolute dog in those, runs there. He was the main part of the team. They're really carrying the squad along. So I think Igor is definitely going to be one of the most important players for this Rangers team throughout this upcoming season. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching today's video. If you have enjoyed, definitely don't forget to click that like and subscribe button for daily New York Rangers content, as I do post a video about the New York Rangers every single day. And also, definitely don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on maybe your kind of top 5 New York Rangers kind of most important players. And also, what are your thoughts on my top 5 most important New York Rangers players, being at number 5, Gavrikov, number 4, JT Miller, 3, Adam Fox, 2, Artemi Panarin, and number 1, Igor Shesterkin. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next one, and let's go Rangers.